Hey everyone, welcome to Laratips. In today's video, we'll be making a collection clone. If you are using Laravel, then you already know about collection. Basically, the collection provides a fluent and convenient wrapper for working with the array of data. And you can see here example of collection. And today we'll be making the clone of this collection and we'll implement some of the few methods in the collection like map, filter, sum, etc. So let's get started. First of all, let us create a collection class over here. New collection.php, and whenever you are creating a new collection, you can just write collection : make, or you could just use collect method, but we'll not use that collect method, but we'll definitely make : make method inside this collection. So first of all, let us accept some arrays in a constructor. So here I'll say private array items, and this is the constructor property promotion which we can use from PHP 8.1. Now let us create this new collection object and access it. I'll go here, new, let's say collection equals to new collection like this, and I'll pass array like this. And if I just hit reload, then we'll be able to see this new collection object over here. But we want to make a static property and we want to access it like that. So here we'll do public static function and make here, and we'll accept an array. And we'll return new static and items over here. Whenever we do new static, it will call this constructor and it will make use of this constructor in order to instantiate this new collection class. So now instead of doing this new over here, we can just say here make an array like this, and it will work the same way. And you might also know that whenever we try to access some properties from the collection, then we can do it like this C0. Whenever we do it like this in a collection, then we'll get this the first item. But if I do it like this and reload, then it is saying me that cannot use object of type this new collection as an array, which means PHP is not allowing it to access a property like this in an object. But PHP has an interface which we can implement and we can use any object as an array. So let's do that. And the name of that interface is ArrayAccess, and it has 4 methods. If we implement these 4 methods correctly, then we will be able to access this new collection object as an array. So let me implement this ArrayAccess interface, and it is imported over here, and you can see here it is showing this red line, which means that these methods are not added over here. So let me just copy these methods and just add it over here. Let me say function like this, and let me format it. Now let us go through each and every of these functions. Here we have this offset exist method over here. We need to check here whether this offset exists or doesn't exist in this internal our array. We need to check this whether 0 exists or not inside this array, not a value but the key. So we'll say return is set this items, and we'll say offset. Now it will check whether that key, this 0, exists or not over here. It will check that using this offset exist. Now here offset get. So here we'll say if the offset exists, then we'll return the value. If this offset exists, offset, because we have already returned this itset method over here, we can easily call that. If that exists, then we'll just return this items and offset. This items is whatever we pass from here, which is this array, and this offset is this 0, and whenever we try to access C0, then we'll get this one. But whenever we are using Laravel collection, then if there isn't any item having certain key that we pass over here, then it will return null. So there are 5 items over here. But if I pass here, let's say 90 over here, then the collection will return null. But if I do it like this, then it will throw an error. So let us do that as well. So if the offset exists, then we'll return this, and if it doesn't exist, then we'll just return null over here. It is that easy. Now offset set means, let's say we want to add 6 to this array or any other number, then we could do it like this in an array. So if I just pass 6 like this, then it will just add 6 to the end of this array. So this offset set will handle this. So here I'll say this items and the value and offset like this. And this offset onset will be called whenever we call an onset like this, onset in this $C, like let's say we call this, then it will invoke this method. So here we'll say we can do onset in an array, so I'll do this items and offset like this. So now let us try to access this C0 as we have done before, and if I reload, then we'll able to see 1, and if I try here 5, then I'll see 0, because in the 5th index there are 5 items, which means the index is only up to 4, so I am getting here null, which means I am not getting any error. But if I try to just access 5 over here, then it will give us an error. So now it will not give us an error and just give us null like the Laravel collection. Now let us try to add 6 to it like this, and I'll just echo C over here. And here we are not able to see any output over here because this C is just an object. And also we know that there is 2 array method on the collection, so let us implement that also. I'll just add it over here and we'll return this items because we know that the items is array, so we'll return this items. And I'll go here and just echo to array like this, and here I'll see this 6, but I am seeing this empty string over here. So whenever we are setting things over here like this, we need to check one more thing. So here if I just go here in the offset set, so here if we are not passing anything over here, then we'll do one way, and if we passed some key over here, then we'll do in another way. So let's do that. So if offset is equal to null, whenever we don't pass anything over here, then it will just pass here null. Okay, so I'll do here this items value like this, else we'll do like this. So now if I just reload over here, then we can see here 1 2 3 4 5 6, and suppose let's say I pass any key over here, then it will just add that key over here, which means we can now access the object as an array. And now whenever we try to pass this object, this C object, to the for each, then it will not work, and we need to do that as well. And now let's do that. Let me show you as an example. So here, so let me just call here items for each items as item, and if I just do here echo item, and let me just add a new line over here, then we'll not be able to see anything, which means that we cannot just do for each in this object like an array. So for that also there is one interface that we need to implement, and after that it will just give us some few methods and we have to write there our code. And the name of the interface is this Iterator, and I'll be leaving the link of each and every one of these documentation link just below that like button. So the name of this interface is Iterator, and there are these 5 methods. So let us implement this Iterator as well. So let me go here and I'll hide here comma and import the Iterator. You can see here it is being imported over here, and let us just copy these methods and write it over here. And let me quickly write here or format it function and like this and format it. Okay, so now here whenever we run for each in an array or this object, then this method will give us the current value of that item, and to get that current value we have a helper method in PHP. We'll just return current this items like this, and for all these methods we have helper method in PHP. I'll just return those. Return key these items, it will just return the current key of the array, and this next will move us to the next element. And since we don't have to return anything over here, we'll just say here next this items like this. And this rewind method is called whenever we call this for each. Okay, for the first time this rewind will be called, and it will reset the key of these items to 0. And there is this reset method in the PHP which can do this. So I'll write here this items over here, and it will reset index of this array to the first one. And finally there is this valid method, and it will be called whenever it tries to go to the next item. And here we have up to the 4th index, and whenever we try to access the 5th index, then the valid must return false, and then this loop will not be executed anymore. So here we'll return each set these items, and we'll say this key like this. We'll check the current key exists in this array or not. If it doesn't exist, then it will just finish the loop. Okay, now let us try to run it and check. And we can see here 1 2 3 4 5. And let's say here something key over here, and we'll pass here 6, and we'll see 1 2 3 4 5 6 because we are only showing the values. And I'll say here the key like this, and I'll just add dash over here and run. Then we can see this key and values over here. So now we can access this object as an array, and we can loop through it. Now, as we have seen here in the documentation, let us implement some methods like map, filter, sum, and we must be able to chain them. So let's do that. So first of all, let us create map. So the first parameter that map will receive is callable, and we need to just implement the same map method of an array and just return from here. And before that, let me show you something. Now I'll remove this for each, and let's say array underscore map, and I think the first parameter is function over here, the callable, and array as the second parameter, and let's say item, and I'll return, let's say item into 2, and just return. And we can see here 2 4 6 8 10 and 12 over here, but we'll not be able to access key over here. The keys of these is item is 0 1 2 3 4 and the key, but will not be able to access key inside the array map like this. It will give us too few arguments to the function, this error. But whatever array we pass here as another parameter, then we'll be able to access that over here. We can say here array underscore keys like this and pass that array, then we will be able to access this as the second parameter, and these will be the keys. And just I'll hit reload, then we are just seeing those things. But let me show you over here like this, key and dollar item like this, and now we can see all the keys of this array also. So whenever we implement map over here in the collection, then we want that key to be available similar to that of the Laravel collection. So let us implement that. So first of all, let us get the keys like this, and now let us pass the items through the array map. We'll just pass that callback over here, and the second parameter is our array in these items, and the third parameter will pass keys. And also let me show you one more thing. Whenever we accessed this like this, then the key of this original array was removed. I'll just pass here item. Okay, so we are losing the key of the array, and the feature of array map is the key of the array remains same. And in order to keep the keys, we can use another array method which is known as array combine, and here we'll return new instance of this collection. So we'll say here return new static and array combine. Whatever we pass here in the first parameter will be the keys, and the second parameter will be the items, will be the values. It will map one-on-one these keys and these items. So we have implemented this map method, and we are returning this new static method so that this our object will be immutable. So now let us use this over here. So I'll just say here items, and we'll say map, and I'll pass function like this, and here item key, and here now we don't have to pass this another parameter over here like this, and we don't have to remember this array is on the left side or on the right side, because on the map the array is on the right side, and whenever we use filter, array filter, then we have to put this array in the front side. So that confusion will also go away whenever we are using like this. And let me return item from here, and in order to view it, we have to just do to array, and we can chain these two array over here because we are returning the new instance of this new collection over here, and we already have that to array method over here. So if I run it, then the key of this original array is also intact. And let me just do here item into 2 like this, and You can see here the keys remain same and the value is just the double of the previous one. Now let us implement the filter method, and filter is very much simpler than that of this even map. So I'll just say public function filter. Here I'll say callable callback, and here I'll return self like this, and here I'll just return filter, and the first parameter is array, the second parameter is the whatever callback that we pass over here. But in the Laravel collection, if we don't pass anything in this callback, then it will ignore the falsy values. So let us implement that also. So here I'll say null like this, and we'll not return this array filter. We'll say here new static array filter like this. And now we can just do here, let me just return item over here, and let me just apply filter over here like this. Here we'll get item, and we'll return item is greater than, let's say 4, and hit reload. Then we'll only see 5 and 6. Okay, suppose let's say I have over here null and let's say 0 over here, and if I don't pass anything like this, then it will just ignore those values, because by default even in the PHP array, it will just remove the falsy values from a filter if they are present. So we did array map and array filter. Now let us try to implement the sum method. And I know guys, the video is getting too long, and I'll just take few of your time, and let me just try to implement the sum method over here. All these methods are returning the new collection, but in case of the sum, we have to return a value. So I'll just show you that as well. And in order to implement sum in an array, we need to use array reduce. So we have to implement that also. So just bear with me. Let us create the reduce function first, and it is also similar to that of the filter. The first parameter is callable and the second parameter is initial value, and here we'll return new static array reduce this items. Second parameter is callback, and the third parameter is the initial value that we pass in the reduce, and here we'll say self like this. And finally, let us implement the sum. Initially, let us not pass anything over here, and in a Laravel collection, whenever we pass a key over here, it will just loop through the array and get the sum of the value of those keys only. Here I'll just say here string equals to null like this, sorry, string like this, key equals to null. So first of all, let us just ignore this key. If key equals to null, then we'll do something. We'll return this reduce, and callback will be this function item, and the first value or the initial value will be 0, and here the item will be, let's say, sum, and item will be over here. This will be the sum and this will be the current item, and here we'll return sum plus item like this. Sorry, here will be plus like this. For the rest, I'll just return 0 for now. And now here, if I just hit sum like this, then it will sum all these things, and it must return 15. And here we are getting some issue. The argument one items must be of type array and int given. So let us see. Oh yeah, sorry, we should not return self from here, because the result of this reduce can be an array or a single integer or a string, anything. It can be anything. So we cannot return self from here. We'll just return this array reduce like this. So now let us check over here, and it is saying me call to the member function to array on int, which means that we are getting the correct result, and I need to comment this, and here I am getting now 15. But let's say if we pass some key over here, then it must sum the value of those keys only. So for now, here I'll just say A1 and A2. So now whenever I pass A over here, then it must give me 3, but if I run over here, then it is giving me 0. And let me just remove this. I think we can just do it in one line. So this will be the sum, and here we need to change whether I need to pass the item or the value of that item having this key. So I can just do here, I'll add it inside the bracket. If item equals to null, then we'll return item, else item key like this. Now if I come here and reload, then I'll see 3. And if I just undo everything that I have done before and hit reload, then it is giving me some warnings. So here I have done a simple mistake over here. In case of this item, I need to pass key over here. If key is null, then we'll just return item, otherwise this item key. And if I just reload over here, then I'll get 15, and I'll again go to this state and hit reload, then we'll get 3. And there are so many things we can implement in the collection. So guys, this is a simple clone of the Laravel's collection class, and we can do a lot of things using the collection. And here I just wanted to give you an idea how the collection works internally. I hope you found this video useful. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.